Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the NACE Starleague. We're here with the Rocket League side. It's me, Squid, joined by Danger Taco, and... oh, my goodness, I just saw you. You're looking rather dapper today, sir. I have to commend you on your choice of formal wear for today. I was kind of pulling out most of the stops here for today. I'm kind of ramping up as we get closer and closer to the finals.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, I had the tux ready. It was hanging, but I'm like, I don't want to come in here. And then there's a miscommunication, and you're wearing, like, you know, something more casual.
Just gonna wear a regular
like
t-shirt.
decked out. There's candles in the background. I mean, that's way too much. So this is why I probably should, like, text you beforehand to coordinate. But we kind of did. I mean, we both have shades of red. I mean, obviously, you're mostly red. It's more of a nice, warmer color. I'm just kind of all over the place with these plaid. But at the end of the day, we kind of overlapped, and that's why we're casting partners.
Well, I don't know if that's why, but either way, we do
I think it
have
is.
some awesome matches coming up here. We have the upper final between Northwood and Stockton, which, as you and I both know, is going to be an amazing match in just about every sense of the word. And of course, Mizzou playing off against Siena Heights on the lower side, a team that has made an amazing run. And Taco, as we talk more and more about last chance qualifier, well, qualification for the last chance qualifier, which is a little bit strange, 3 spots were up for grabs in the NACE Starleague, and only the top 3 teams that aren't already qualified for CRL Worlds or qualified for the last chance qualifier through another method such as the CCA Open or Level Next, which is yet to come. The top 3 teams outside of those will make it into the LCQ, and I believe Siena Heights has already managed to secure a spot there.
Yeah, and that's important for them specifically because Siena Heights was, I think, one of the classic situations, and this is somewhat of a call-out, but they were formed as a team that was saying, okay, these are some nice kind of peripheral players that we can definitely make a name for ourselves, because when we look at this roster, when we look at the 2 teams and how they kind of compare to each other, you see obviously a lot of names you recognize on Northwood, and people who are fans of the bubble scene, seeing Faded, 11, and Decay chilling on the side of Siena Heights. I think the thing is that was a team that people are saying, wow, there's a lot of talent on that side, and they were tweeting out, it's like, can't wait to play in CRL, it's going to be so exciting, and then they didn't make it, and that's often because they're playing in the East, which is an incredibly difficult conference to get into, and so now they've been able to make this deep run, and they're showing that, no, they're not all talk. They definitely have something to be able to walk the walk with.
And I think the real question, Taco, for you and me, of course, playing that Eastern Conference is a heck of a lot more challenging, but they do have to play off against Mizzou. I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because that is our second match, but please, just one more point on this. You know, this is what happens when you bring in guys who are passionate about this, but still, you know, the one more point is you have a top 8 team in the West versus a team that didn't quite qualify for CRL in the East, but very well could have, and it is, in fact, a team that, come the CRL qualifiers, I had predicted would make it in. I don't recall if you did as well, but we did like a whole thing about it, about who we predicted was going to get in on each pool, and I thought Siena Heights was going to make it. Faded has been a huge grinder, but yeah, that's my last point on it. So Taco, unless you got something else, we can go ahead and move on.
I think that's really all I want to talk about, because at least right now, the only thing that I really need to talk about, and we're about to talk for quite some time, hopefully, is Stockton and Northwood, because that, of course, is our first match. And of course, there's so much history between these two. Both 2 programs, super proud of what they've accomplished. They've been in the scene for a while. Obviously, Northwood came in a bit more recently than Stockton, but they made a humongous splash, and you can see why, with names like Hockey, Pirates, and Buddy. But of course, Stockton, no slouches whatsoever.
Absolutely not. And this is going to be an absolute highlight matchup. I have to say, this, of course, is the upper final, which, you know, go figure, that would be the best match in the bracket. But I still feel like this is really the one for all the marbles. You have the 14th seed in Stockton, which, you know, I think seeding-wise, there is a little bit of misleading information when it comes down to that. But Stockton, incredibly strong team. I think, of course, we talked about Drip coming in as the new player, the new 3rd in place of Dark, of course, leaving Stockton as a rank A player, but showing massive improvement throughout their tenure there. I think Dripino kind of started off at a better starting point than Dark did, but still where they were a little step down. The real question here is Lion Blaze not playing for Northwood as the absolute powerhouse for that team. Lion Blaze has led them to many a victory, but Hockey, Buddy, and Pirates going to be in for today. So maybe a little bit of a downgrade, but Pirates is no slouch. It's still going to be an incredible challenge.
Yeah, and I think that's the main thing that people need to keep in mind, is that oftentimes when we talk about substitutes, we talk about that being the main issue. That was actually King University in the match that we had the day prior, in that we were talking about, can they stand up to that level of pressure when you add in a sub? Because oftentimes it's hard to find the depth at a collegiate program, or really just even on a pro roster, that can hold up to that level of scrutiny. And oftentimes the answer is no, or it's just a little bit off. And I would say with Northwood, they have depth galore. They arguably have the best depth out of any collegiate program, where you can sub out any player, put in their sub, and it's fine. Hell, they even have backup players to those backup players that are still that quality, as seen by at least having 2 teams in CRL in the past semester. So that is something that is certainly something that everyone is fully aware of. But Northwood, I would say, has shown some vulnerability, and Stockton is one of those teams that has been able to really showcase that this is not an infallible team. They can be felled.
Well, we'll see. The players look like they're just about ready here in Taco. This is usually whenabouts we would give our predictions, but historically we haven't really been doing much in the way of predictions here on the NACE Starleague broadcast, so we'll omit that for now. Of course, I don't want to look wrong by predicting for Stockton anyhow, because I want these guys to be able to take down the Titans in Northwood. But as we said, it was always going to be a very tough fight. So I think it rests upon the efforts combined of all three of these players. You cannot have just one pop off and the remainder playing a little bit poorly. It has to be a wholehearted team chemistry kind of play style they're going for here in game number 1. Now underway, the upper finals, Stockton in the orange and Northwood on the blue.
And of course, right off the bat, we're going to be seeing a lot of speed for those of you who are collegiate Rocket League fans. Typically, if you're tuned into NACE, you're seeing a lot of different teams that you don't normally see on CRL, but this is creme de la creme, I would say, Squid, in the conference that is perceived as the better between the two East and West. You're seeing two of the best teams, which means these are the finest rosters, really, in all the nation and, hell, the continent. It is NA after all, but that is really just to say that it is more impressive to see just how dominant Northwood has been for so long, but it takes a team like Stockton to knock him off that throne. Top Cheese nearly did it with an opener, but only going to be hit with the crossbar and be able to settle for a boost steal.
Lots of possession here, though, for Stockton. That's going to be a rather big boon for them, but of course, a double kick on the sideline does slow things down just a little bit now and open that towards the middle. There's nobody available to actually make that play, but you can see how Top Cheese is being phenomenally generative presently. Nice little challenge there by Bussy as well, trying to keep that one in the area, but Buddy finds Hockey for a little bit of transition out. And we know those two players have a lot of experience together. They're going to need a little bit more than experience. They need some help, and they will find it.
And Drip, it's almost like they were loading in that shot for a second. They wanted to hit it earlier, and then Top Cheese said, okay, I'll try to provide a lead blocker, and then Drip ran out of speed, and because of that, they couldn't really get any power on the flick. So very unfortunate. However, Top Cheese doesn't need help getting power. They set up a double tap. It's denied, though nearly teed up for him on the goal line. Northwood still keeping it clear, but Northwood, actually, we are 90 seconds in, and they only have one shot. I guess they don't need a lot if they're quality. Buddy really putting in a goal with number 2.
Excellent read there by Stockton, but of course that creativity has to be punished at some point. Nice read there for Drip, but this follow-up and the Goomba sub on Bussy is not enough. That one will also be deflected away. But as Northwood becomes more and more prominent on the attacking side, things will continuously ramp up in difficulty for the players on the orange side. See what they can do with it, especially in the solo play department. We both know Hockey and Buddy can be quite deadly if you give them space. I mean, Buddy was the biggest story, I think, a couple of seasons ago for Seattle. Oh my goodness, what is that from Bussy? The 50-50 into the ground, pins towards the net.
Pirates is in disbelief. They just went AFK after this goal, and I can't blame them. That's not a bad 50, but that is an excellent follow-through from Bussy. Just moving the car enough that it gets it off the bounce for a perfect shot. And to be honest, I don't see anyone reacting to that. Well done from Stockton. They've had a lot of pressure, and they get it in the weirdest way possible.
Yep, well, they're looking for more already. Bussy up the ceiling over to Drip. Pirates has made it. We find ourselves in a bit of a situation we don't normally find ourselves in. Northwood trailing first. That was a rather lackluster offensive try, if you could even call it that. It was more so Hockey just throwing it at Bussy. This one towards the back. Well, 2 players missed on that one. This could open up an opportunity. But Bussy, nowhere to be found in the rotation. A little bit out of the ordinary there, Taco. It's something that we remarked on, I think, just yesterday on the broadcast, how usually you will see Bussy trying to run a little bit of interference, if not just making direct cutoff rotations in the opposing half.
And as good as Stockton is, there's definitely been some interference in a negative aspect, but not on this one. That was as clear as could be. Pass up to Drip, it will be denied, but at least returning to the point about Bussy, they have a play that does like to call it is that interference, but I have noticed at least once or twice that there are goals that will be given up because 2 players in the same area. They like to keep close pressure, and of course, if you stock a zone with players and trust in your 50s, trust in the game plan, it can work out, but it can also be something that can work against you to your detriment. So that is certainly the main priority I'm looking at for Stockton, because of course, they're not short on skill. Top Cheese showing that with that redirect, but will be denied. They'll just have to take it back to their corner.
Will be denied. How? Of course. Buddy somehow making that read. Top Cheese looking for a little bit more. They don't have the flip reset on that one. It'll be an easy touch away from that back post there for Hockey. They do need a little bit more assistance for this clearance, though. Buddy forcing something out. Now Hockey. Oh, maybe they had a bit of an option upfield. Maybe they're trying to pass it out to Buddy. They could have had Pirates in the mid. And they just throw away the control instead. Again, a little bit uncharacteristic for the Northwood that we know and love. This might look a little bit more promising. Bussy off the backboard, forced to give this one away to Pirates. Back towards the midfield, towards Hockey, but just a little bit behind the mark. And yet again, Northwood falling short of what would normally be quite the effortless offensive drive.
Top Cheese losing out on that, but is getting the demo, so Northwood will be somewhat shorthanded on offense. Doesn't mind them much. Bussy and Buddy being able to collide, and now with a demo trip, trying to carry it forward. It will be saved out from Northwood, however. They're doing well on defense to keep the Stockton at bay since that first goal, but they still have not been able to answer back with one of their own. So this is certainly going to be interesting, watching Northwood have to somewhat panic and really ramp up the pressure quickly in the final 15.
We'll see if they can keep their wits about them. As you mentioned, final couple of seconds beginning to tick away right now. Top Cheese not going to be able to contest that one from Hockey towards the corner off the back wall. It's looking promising. Buddy towards the top shelf, but cannot put it past Bussy. And the final second will expire here. Northwood still backpedaling a little bit. They've got to start moving this one upfield if they want a shot at it. They do have control, Buddy. Loads a boost and out of the corner with Hockey in the midfield. Touched out. It's still very well playable. Drift for the kill in the corner. And Stockton will have a series lead.
That's spectacularly done, not only because they get the goal, but show that they have the audacity to really go for these interesting saves. The in and out by Stockton, almost by two different players to get that save from Buddy, because that was top shelf all the way. So we're not going to be going to overtime. We will be seeing a 1-0. And of course, it is close, but this is huge for the side of Stockton to get out and immediately show, no, this is not just going to be a close series. It's a series that we are going to take.
And this is something, Taco, that you and I were talking about a little bit prior to the start of the show here, is these are both teams that are already qualified for CRL Worlds. So this may have very real potential ramifications for the NACE Starleague itself, but simultaneously, this could be a little bit of a precursor to what we can expect to see when LAN does roll around. And of course, for these players on the Stockton side, it is vitally important that they find some sort of way to gain an advantage over top of Northwood. Even if Lion Blaze isn't on the field, it's still a great opportunity to examine and evaluate the rotation here for the Northwood side. So it's a good thing for me, personally, they took game one. I think we're going to have a much more competitive series than a 4-0, though, which has been one of the big patterns we've seen so far in this playoff bracket.
And of course, in the upper bracket, these are the teams that are cruising through. They have yet to take their loss. So regardless of whoever actually wins this, they'll have a chance to get back into our grands a little bit later on. And of course, I really do not envy any of the teams in the lower bracket finding out, oh, who do we play? Northwood or Stockton? Well, that's fun, but they're going to have to just grieve about that one in the future. But I'm sure everyone is prepared. I mean, we witnessed Arcadia, some of the underdogs come through this bracket. So I think, you know, they're up for the challenge, but certainly so too is Northwood. They're not going to be taking a game loss sitting down. Game number 2, we'll have to see what they have in store.
Well, I mean, I guess they probably will take a game loss sitting down. I assume they're sitting in chairs. But
you never know. There are standing desks.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, standing desks. Play the controller while you're standing. It seems a little bit odd. Nice little play here from Top Cheese. Forces out one defender, and now low boost here from Pirates down under. And Buddy forced into action here. Will be able to clear that one out to the side, but Stockton off to another hot start. Drip in the 1v1. Can't break past Hockey, and a good follow-up touch here. Well, Buddy drops down to Hockey. Nothing doing on that one. I feel like this first goal is going to be vitally important for the mental. And oh boy, talk about being vitally important for the mental. That is not the way you wanted to see it.
That was the most abstract caster curse I've ever seen. Typically, you call out something specific, but this one you're just saying, wow, the mental is strong. It's the strangest miscommunication I've seen in a bit. Trip just pitches it right into Bussy, who's trying to get out of the way, but I don't even think they expected it to go straight across the goal line. And there's certainly a cleaner ways to get your lead in the game, and that is not one of them.
Well, like I said, you know, I felt like goal number 1 was going to be important for the mental, then instantly, you know, the miscommunication, maybe it impacts their mental. They'll get one right back, though. Drip, sniper the left-hand side of the net. They expected it to be covered on the Northwood side. I certainly did.
Well, I guess we just turned this game off and turned it right back on because we are completely reset. The only problem is we lost a minute off of the clock, so that's an error, I suppose. We'll just have to play through, but more or less, we're right back into neutral, and clearly both these teams having to deal with quite a lot on the field. You have to defend against all these fantastic offenses, but sometimes the worst victim are dealing with what your own team's doing with these 50s in the midfield. And these passes from Stockton. Look at Bussy go to work off the corner there.
It's not frequent that you see Northwood trailing behind when a passing play is made like this. They have the read on that more often than not, and yet Bussy's still able to navigate around Pirates and find Top Cheese in the mid. And again, who else but the self-proclaimed, well, I guess wouldn't necessarily say self-proclaimed, more like self-announced star striker for the Stockton roster, because as soon as Top Cheese got on the team, they put up 5 goals, I think, in one of their first series that we saw on stream. It was absolutely insane, and they appear to be going for something else here. That's going to be a bit of a giveaway from Northwood, and again, over to Top Cheese. You know it's going to hurt.
Gervinho thought it looked fun on going to the corner, but problem is Pirates is the one that throws that one middle, and I do understand the motivations behind that touch. However, I'm sure the Pirates wanted a slightly different outcome on that one, maybe an air dribble regardless of it. Looks like Stockton is feeling very frisky on these touches. The moment that one went into the middle, they were able to beat out both defenders who were right underneath it. So Northwood gonna have to be as deliberate as possible on this one. And how about this from Hockey? Flawless placement into the near post.
Well, I gotta say, I never really expected a shootout from these two teams. I expected some quality play, but certainly not this. We'll find that angle off onto the left side. I think Top Cheese have gotten a little bit over aggressive, I think, going out into the corner, something to that extent. Either way, they thought they had the coverage, and, well, of course, Hockey thought otherwise. Out the face-off here is looking a little bit complicated, but Top Cheese without the boost will have to defer. Buddy looking towards the backboard, maybe in a double tap. How many times have we seen him do that? Of course, the respect is there on the Stockton side, although gonna give away here. Both Bussy and Top Cheese take to the skies, but Buddy is first there.
And of course, we talk a lot about Lion Blaze on the roster. However, Buddy, in previous semesters, the pre-Lion Blaze semesters, I would argue that Buddy was the MVP of the entirety of the Collegiate Rocket League, just due to how instrumental they were in so many comeback opportunities and how instrumental they are in pretty much all the attacks and defensive opportunities they stand. Really the de facto leader of the squad, and they're trying to lead by example with that touch. It's not going to find its way through. How about try number 2 into Hockey? That is a decent shot, though. Decent is not going to be able to beat Top Cheese.
I was just about to say, decent is a cut below what you really need in order to score on a team like Stockton or a team like Northwood. But they will have another chance. Maybe here it's just give away to Bussy. Bussy now in the 1v1. Easily played away for Pirates. Secondary touch there for Hockey. Maybe not what they were looking for, but they find a way to utilize it one way or the other. There's a lot of small giveaways here for Northwood, trying to bait the opposition and making a mistake, although Pirates, wonderful idea here. But Bussy still has the read. They respect that player on the backboard. Northwood able to abuse that back wall against lower level teams, but not here.
And it's something you always do want to test out, especially in the midfield, actually, as Top Cheese was creeping up fairly close to that one. Buddy nearly beating it out over the top. Now it's Hockey's chance to 50 and follow. Bumping around Drip, but will not get a piece. Pirates instead looking for a 50. Bussy now into Buddy, the boost steal, and now this is where Northwood really trying to set up camp in the half. They're circling around the goal, but they cannot find the target in the end. Drip with a crucial touch out, and now the clear.
Oh, nice little touch there as well. Bussy over into Drip. We'll buy them some valuable space and time. As you mentioned, Northwood closing the vice grip is the last thing you want to see if you're a Stockton fan, because that will almost surely result in the goal against. I don't think we've ever seen a defense stand up against Northwood for more than, say, 30 seconds at a time. We'll see if they've got a little bit more in them, though. Hockey on the approach here will be touched out by Bussy. A long clear at that. All right, said valuable space and time for the Stockton defense to reset themselves. Hockey cannot cut in front of that one. Pirates has to try and make a play. A demo in the net. Top Cheese at least slows down the play, and it's just enough time for Drip to get in position, make the challenge, and even a follow 50-50 again against Buddy, sending Northwood packing all the way back into their own half. We're looking at the final 60 seconds here. Stockton defense does not even look close to breaking right now.
But they got to be careful because all it takes is one mistake or maybe one double commit. However, if we're going to double someone, it better be Top Cheese. That is a nice air dribble into the corner, and so too is that from Bussy. The extension, the bump on Buddy. Top Cheese, they are uncontested. The double tap on target, not in. How about Drip? It's slow, but effective. That's a 2-goal lead for Stockton.
And Tucker, something you so love to say, Drip, you know, they might not have had the greatest touch, but they knew all they had to do was get it on target and around Pirates. You don't need to make solid contact as long as you have that win condition sorted out. They managed to find it and put their team up by 2. I mean, Northwood has had a historically weak-looking defense for the history of this roster, I should say. But we'll see if they can respond in part on the offensive side. Again, Stockton, they've looked so solid up until now. What a read here for Bussy, chasing that one the entire way, even threatening to block out the flip reset. They need more than that. Bussy with another read off the backboard. We'll see Drip over on the side, forcing Buddy onto the back wall. Still, time and time again, Northwood are struggling to find a gap in the Stockton defense. This might just be it. Pirates for the high shot. Follow-up still available for Hockey. No power. Top Cheese has to throw it off the backboard. Buddy maybe looking for a dunk or something, but they did not have a striker in the mid. And the final second will expire here. Stockton, a slight scramble on the back end, but well within boundaries.
And if you're scrambling, that's fine. You just got to make sure the contact is good enough to get it out of the danger area, and that's what Stockton repeatedly is doing, and most notably, without any double commits. The only double commits I have really seen out of them on defense were that in-and-out save to be able to conclude game number 1, but that is in the past. We're focused on game number 3, and so far, it is Stockton's series to lose, not only getting another victory, but extending the lead out as well, even though they were actually not out shooting Northwood in the end.
Yeah, and I think here's the real kicker, if you're a Northwood fan right about now. Recall that one of the goals against for Stockton was a raw own goal. It was not earned for the Northwood side at all. So I have my concerns here about the integrity on the Northwood side. Again, their defense has looked a little bit lackluster. I mean, we've seen a couple of amazing reads and pre-jumps from them so far in this series, but they have not been anywhere as consistent as they used to be. Or I guess I should say historically, I assume that we are going to see a bit of a resurgence in that regard. But still, I mean, again, on the attacking side, it just has not been that impressive. The couple of demos that they have gotten haven't really been particularly impactful, which is, again, out of the ordinary here for Northwood. So I feel like having a 2-0 deficit is already putting them way outside of their comfort zone. But I really feel like Diamonds are made under pressure in this kind of a scenario because Northwood players have loads of experience under their belt dealing with these kinds of situations.
At the end of the day, these aren't 4-0s. It's still something that's somewhat neck and neck. And yeah, it might not be earned, but you can tell they're circling around that net. I haven't seen a lot of demos. I haven't seen too many, I would say, tricky plays. There's nothing that really makes me open my eyes with surprise. It feels like everything is fairly ordinary. Kind of like this cut, but nothing Top Cheese does is ordinary.
3 seconds in, and with a face-off win like that, I mean, you're already putting a 1v1. Hockey has to try to respect that far corner shot, make the pre-jump, and you get fooled. I mean, there's nothing really special about that play, but it still puts Stockton up all the same as a 1-2-3 passing play. Now Bussy, off the ceiling, you're looking at a solid 50 against Buddy. Does not actually make contact with it, though. Northwood may have their chance to get started in this. What a passing play here. Drip over to Bussy, looking for Top Cheese. They are there off the backboard, and Bussy lurking in the zone. They just did not have the boost for the play. In this transition, Drip is just enough to stop it out. They need one more, but they cannot find it. Pirates is there for number 1.
Now, Drip, you did exactly what you needed to do. You made sure to hold it up just enough. The problem is that you actually see Bussy go out to the sideline, maybe believing their teammate could be able to tap that through. They needed an immediate follow, and that's what Pirates was able to provide, putting it in on the open net as you would expect, and back to a level score line. Shades of game number 2 here with 2 early goals just to be able to reset us to neutral.
Oh boy, Top Cheese. Oh boy. Good thing Pirates had backup there. Didn't make that initial contact on the airdrop, but now Top Cheese bumping one out of the way. Almost a gap being provided, but Hockey hasn't changed over to the Fennec, I might know. Is there once again for the reinforcement. This one on target again from Drip, who's been having a fairly stellar series, I might add. I don't think we really noted it, of course. The story has really been mostly about Bussy and Top Cheese leading this team, but Drip has been looking just wonderful so far in this series. It's one off the backboard produced for Bussy. Still no shot on target. Top Cheese can't put it away, but there is Drip, the player I just want to talk about. How convenient.
And at the same time, it's just, you expect them to rotate out, but no, Drip gets bumped and then immediately says, don't mind if I do, turns right in front of Pirates' face and gets that one in. Granted, nice setup and 3-person pressure, and it's almost really justifying that Drip gets that goal because they started the air dribble to beat the first defender, so naturally it feels like just a karmic retribution to be able to get that goal in the end. Top Cheese with a delayed flick, nearly getting yet another one for Stockton, but they'll have to settle for some defense for now.
Well, Taco, it's not frequent that we see reverse sweeps in NACE or CRL in general. We may find ourselves in a situation here if Northwood are not able to formulate a response here in game 3. Oh my goodness, Top Cheese almost able to put that one just inside of the upright. We touched all the way downfield, and I think the real question mark for us is, well, I think there are a couple of real questions, and I asked them both in the postgame after the last one. Will Northwood be able to get their defense together, and will they be able to get their offense together? Because it certainly has not been looking on either end nearly as good as what we expected of Northwood. This is a very simplistic pass, very easily telegraphed to the midfield. The demo in the net, but Drip able to avoid the secondary bump and make the clearance here. It's just enough time for Top Cheese to meet that ball in the mid.
I'm loving the spacing from Stockton. It seems like everyone is challenging Zach when they need to, and they have backup adequately placed, and they have shots that are very well placed, particularly to set up to this. Look at this dunk from Drip, getting all the way through it, and then they know it's going to go straight down, so just get as close as possible, make sure it goes in, and Drip will be leading all scorers on the field. That three shots rather, 2 goals. And my goodness, this is just, it's been a while, Squid, since I've really seen Northwood really try to figure things out. They look utterly perplexed on how to get through the Stockton defense at times.
I agree, and problematically, we never expect this out of Northwood, although Hockey with a completely open net here. I'll at least get one back. We're just about at halftime. A bit of an early commit here from Buzzy. I mean, I respect it though. We saw the disrespect play on the last one from Drip. It netted a goal forward. I mean, against Northwood, you want to try to be as disrespectful as possible because you know if you give them the space, then things are going to go poorly for you. I think they've done a great job of doing that so far. And even saying they've been being quote-unquote disrespectful, it seems like just about every play they go for is all about raw option coverage, which is something I adore at top-level play.
So we'll be seeing if there's anything else madcap or wacky about this game. Seems like it has settled down somewhat since that Hockey goal, and now I'm expecting things to at least become somewhat normalized, but really no better than that to assume that that's how this game is going to end, because we still have 2 full minutes to get through, and allowing Top Cheese a flick, a dangerous gambit if there ever was one, to be able to get it away for now and be able to start to attack with Buddy, trying to look for Hockey, but Top Cheese read that like a book.
And they've got a little bit more on that as well. One additional touch, only throws it as far as Pirates. Buddy now towards Hockey, he's 50-50 to wait. Pirates though still in the zone. Northwood again trying to vie for control here, but they will find nothing. A nice save off to the opposite sideline, and Demolition secures this clearance. Bussy looking for even more than that. There's absolutely no chance they can get that one off the backboard. And you can see how Stockton are playing a little bit more passive now. Drip, that was a mistouch. This could provide an opportunity now for Northwood to get in the attacking zone. A demo dodge there for Top Cheese. And that's going to be a bit of a shutdown, I think, on this attack. Really everything for Northwood hinged on that initial demolition coming through.
The outlet passes are looking good. Buddy was able to get the initial read and actually a follow-up one as well. Maybe even a shot. Bussy had to save that one. And they're trying to control it out to the side, though. Northwood will not leave it alone. Hockey now into Pirates. I like the idea, though. Seemed like it was answered well from Stockton. Now, potentially a short-sided counter. Buddy will be able to hold it up just enough, so this will fizzle out somewhat. But at the end of the day, Stockton, all they need to do is just hold it in this blue side of the field and be able to walk away with yet another game win.
Oh boy, Top Cheese looking for it all by themselves. The dish is almost there. Buddy will be credited with the save. That is a dangerous play to be making on your goal line, but at this point, Northwood, they need to become a little bit less difficult on themselves. This is just ridiculous. Chaos out in front of the blue net. 30 seconds remain. Nice little pick up here from Hockey. Has Buddy in the wing, but it's not good enough. Iris is going to have to play through the backfield now. Bussy. I don't make any contact with that one. It's actually a back pass. Buddy trying to evaluate their options. They see Top Cheese lurking up. They do beat them on that one. But again, Bussy is immediately there for the follow-up. Northwood needs to start finding each other with something. Final 10 seconds ticking away, and they have zero control. It's an open net down on the other side. Drip just needs to service towards the mid. They cannot get it, but still no time on the clock. And Northwood have to go for a full carry. It's Pirates denied by both Top Cheese and Bussy. And this one almost even drops into the net.
But it looks like it is Stockton's game to lose, so Bussy doesn't need another one, and they won't even try for one. They'll set up the flip reset and then let that one drop down to the ground. Stockton trying to put Northwood in the ground. It's 3-0 right now, and it's situations like this where everyone talks, especially, I would say, the layman of Collegiate Rocket League, saying, well, Northwood's untouchable, they can't be beaten, what's the point of collegiate competition? This right here, if you play well, any team can be beaten on any given day.
Yes, and of course, Stockton will never let anybody hear the end of this if they do manage to take this 4-0, but they are poised and ready for the kill. I mean, even, not just in the goal counter, but I mean, you look at the stats sheet here, and of course, they're matching 6 saves against 8 shots is an excellent defensive ratio to have, and of course, they put up a total of 13 shots in comparison to, as I mentioned, the 8 on the Northwood side. You could not get too much better with your stats sheet. I don't think. There needs to be some sort of tangible improvement here from Northwood. And I think I saw exactly what they were trying to do. They're trying to play a little bit less predictable. We saw that change start to creep in near the end of the game, Taco, and that's going to be vitally important because right now, Stockton, as you mentioned, they're reading them like a book.
And I think the issue is that, yes, everything seems a bit too predictable. These longer clears are almost being pre-dumped by Stockton at a certain point. They just know where they will need to go. So those little tiny interplays, those infield passes, those redirects coming out of the backfield, that's stuff that can really throw a wrench in Stockton's, at least anticipation of the play. And if they're not going to be able to consistently bring those plays out, and that's really going to be an issue, because right now Stockton is almost at the point where I feel like they're ego challenging a lot of these touches in the midfield. They just know if they send someone full speed, they'll be able to make a play on it. It's not going to be good news for Northwood if they just keep coming out with the same strategy, but they have 5 minutes at the very least to make an adjustment, and then beyond that, they need to engineer a reverse sweep, a situation that Northwood very rarely finds themselves in.
Not only that, but like I said, the rarity of reverse sweeps in best of 7 in Rocket League Esports in the first place is ridiculous. Add on to that, of course, the fact that we were playing in the CRL space. It makes it even more so. Hockey, oh my goodness, all alone Hockey around Bussy and the dunk on top cheese for the opener.
I love this from Hockey. Slow play and then just immediately speeds it back up. There's so many times where an air dribble will go straight vertical, but sometimes it is just as better to bring it over the top, though, a dunk at the end. And that's just the cherry on top. I love to see it from Hockey, and that's the start that they need.
Absolutely. I was just about to mention how they need a leader. They need somebody to really step it up, and so far Hockey has been rather quiet. I mean, Buddy on the same boat, and we were singing the praises for Buddy just earlier. Oh my goodness, they hand off over to top cheese. Almost deadly. Bussy denied as well. Northwood needs just a little bit more than a redirect out to the corner. Pirates now have to take some control of that, and will not even forfeit control. Bussy has to weigh back on it. Northwood beginning to push. I like that patience from Hockey. Again, it's the difficulty for Stockton of being able to read the opponents that is vital right now. If Northwood is playing at all predictable, they will most likely be getting shut down on just about every single offensive play they bring to the table. This is looking dicey. Buddy again there to make the play.
I love how intelligent Bussy is when using their mechanics. You can watch that last play of many players bring to the sideline. They'll go for an air dribble, but Bussy doesn't, and other players try to just hit something off a 50 or try to read the defense, but Pirates only cares about this touch in the middle, and they're going to bury it through all 3 defenders.
You can see highly unorthodox bump attempt there by Buddy, but he does make contact with top cheese in the air, who most likely would have been at least in the zip code for that shot. I don't know if it would have been a save, but for Northwood, they never wanted to find out.
So we'll see them continue again, and I like that touch. I like this one even better. Buddy tried to set up a double. Bussy somehow reading that again, and will just get that one through. And now can maybe start an offense of their own. That is way too difficult. Now Trip, they're going to have to get in a foot race. One they will not win, but they don't need to. The reliable post being able to get that first save, and they'll get the follow through. And this has been a complete turnaround. I don't know what was said in between matches, but whatever it is, Northwood is playing very well. They're right back in it.
A response here from Stockton is absolutely required if they want to keep up their momentum in the series. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've got just over half the game to do it. This little bump here off the play. Although Hockey receiving on this one a little bit more boost, and that would certainly be a goal for. It might just be still. This one underneath the Bussy and over top cheese for number 3.
And that is an intelligent air dribble. Bring it through the middle. Bussy has to go high, respect that touch, and so therefore, Hockey, they know all they got to do is drop it down. And to be honest, if you're top cheese, you have to anticipate those contact coming before your teammate has called you off, but you're driving backwards, and sometimes you can only just be helpless and watch it unfold. Northwood continuing to pile it on, and this one, honestly, as much as it helps with their game momentum, this is just a good morale-boosting game. This is not just, oh, we're getting smacked around. Now it's suddenly, this is what we were waiting to do. This is what we really need to execute on, and now we're looking like the Northwood of old, and it's going to continue. Look at these passes. Pirates nearly get number 4, and now on the counterattack, Bussy even trying to get something on will be denied. Top cheese the follow, and far too low to trouble the defense.
Northwood, they were extraordinarily lucky there. That Buddy got bounced back after that demolition, though. Missing the ball on the challenge, but still being able to make a backflip and keep it away from the net. We'll see if that luck continues to hold up. Hockey looking for a dunk here. They have been playing incredibly smart so far this game. We noticed that, you mentioned even earlier, that it felt like Stockton was basically ego challenging Northwood in a lot of scenarios. And it seems that since then, Northwood has started to slow down their play. When they get individual control of the ball, they will allow the Stockton attackers to make the first move. They don't want to play their hand too soon, ever. I think it's just a general rule of Rocket League, and I think they started to realize that they really need to lean into it right now, because that's how Stockton is hard countering them. Of course, talk about hard counter. Hockey just slams that one to the other side and deny that double tap.
Yeah, these nice infield passes from Stockton are slowly starting to fade away because they're trying to play quickly. The problem is that is exactly what Northwood excels at, because they will just eat it right up and throw it right back into the middle. Pirates capping that one off, but this is a play made by this interception from Hockey.
But again, I'm looking at this, and they're waiting for the Stockton players to throw their assets at the ball. They are not mindlessly expending their resources at the midfield on the Northwood side. I think it's very valuable, because we saw a bit of a lack of that earlier, and unfortunately they didn't have anybody available to make this save. No cheater, which is a bit of an interesting choice on this face-off.
Hockey was thinking about it, but maybe just trusted that touch would be going through. Either way, even if that goal goes through, typically we talk about, okay, that's a momentum reset where we get the goal right back and nothing has changed. The problem is, it's not that there's nothing on the scoreboard. There's still a 3-goal margin, so they got to average goal every 20 seconds, and Stockton's offense is prolific. It's going to be a tall order that they have to fulfill.
Prolific and rather decadent right now. Haven't really seen anything out of them very recently. They are being outshot by Northwood at this moment, which I don't think anybody will be surprised to hear. Although, a little bit of pressure down the other way now. Hockey being chased off that ball. Buddy with an instant dunk, though. No questions asked about that. But Bussy, we talked about how intelligent they could be with their mechanics. There was not even a challenge against that ball. It looked like they just let them take Buddy, or excuse me, they let Buddy take the ball off the roof of their car. Although now, nobody home again for Northwood. I got question marks going off in my head right now.
Pirates was chasing this, but then almost decided they wanted to get boost. Maybe they wanted to get the other touch. Buddy, I can't really blame them. They're getting chased by Bussy through the midfield, and honestly, that is kind of how this all plays down. You have two different players rotating to the side, but neither one of them actually goes for it. And Northwood will suffer the consequences of that, though I'm sure they can shrug it off. They only have 24 seconds to sit through, but as I say that, Top Cheese really glance on one through the entirety of the defense, strip out in the midfield, no flick. Buddy will dispossess, and can they get the counterattack? They're just going to launch one, and even with a miss, it's still dangerous. Hockey on the follow-through to the back post. All three players diving at it. No save, but it doesn't really matter. This game is done and dusted. Northwood will not go out quietly. There will be no sweeps here in our upper final. We're at least going one more.
That's the real question, though. We'll be going at least one more, but now how does Stockton recuperate from this? Because when you're playing against Northwood, it can be just incredibly challenging to find an advantage. And yet, they did. They did once. But as much as it is incredibly challenging to find an advantage once, that really speaks volumes about how challenging it will be to find an advantage twice after Northwood is able to adapt to your style. When you know that they're playing it slow, when you know that they are going to wait for you to do something, they're going to wait until your options have been expended. I mean, when you talk about this, Taco, you start to talk about how important it is for the individuals to outmatch the individuals on the opposite team. And as much as I love Top Cheese and Bussy, and how well Drip has been playing in comparison to what you could normally expect out of Stockton, I don't necessarily know if they can stack up to Buddy and Hockey.
It's tough because Buddy and Hockey are, I mean, obviously a dynamic duo. They're playing on light gaming within RLCS qualification play, RLCS league play. And so when they're trying to get through that, they're a duo that you really have to worry about. Pirates has been playing with this Northwood roster and has been friends with them for a while. So, of course, there is all that existing chemistry. And I think games like this really do show it off. It's where they start to use that perfect synergy between that adequate team play to get through the defense, but also an intermixing of solo plays. I think that's the stuff that really breaks the backs of defense, is that if you're looking for those infield passes, if you're trying just to defend off the backboard, you can. The issue is then you get Hockey in a solo play, you kind of have to guess where they're going, and a player of their caliber, they're going to make that a very difficult quiz to pass, and apparently Hockey was able to get the better of them that game, of course, with a reset, with being able to talk, and now both teams have to bring something new. What is going to fall either of these teams here with an L in this next game of the series? Stockton trying to close it out right here, though.
My biggest fear for Stockton is that they've already exhausted all the resources. Top Cheese, though. I love that beat. They did have to sacrifice some accuracy towards the target. At least they've got control of the ball, of course. That does not remain. Buddy finds Hockey for a nice counterattack play all the way downfield. Nice vision on this one.
Yeah, and like you said, it doesn't look like an ordinary pass. You're throwing it in the middle. That's where Stockton is. The issue is that they have to focus on not only getting back, but then reading a touch into the middle, which oftentimes doesn't seem to be anything. As your ball cam is flipping around, it might also just look like it's a mishit or it's a touch that you don't really have to worry about. But when it is calmed correctly, it can be a fantastic way to have a quick counter. And long bang into the open net, all they need. Top Cheese, making sure Buddy has to be aware, because that's a fantastic self-made play.
Yeah, this is so intelligent from Top Cheese. I mean, if you're watching Buddy take that ball off the wall, or at least try to take that ball off the wall, then it seems hopeless. But Top Cheese saw what was developing and put themselves in that spot to force checkmate there. And they do indeed. Well played on the Stockton side. Of course, we talked about individual players being able to read and basically just make these proper evaluations on plays and figure out what their win condition is. That was a beautiful example by Top Cheese, but they do need at least one more if they want to take the game, although that was looking promising for a second. It's a little bit around that ball, and Top Cheese was looking at the target on that one.
Top Cheese is looking at a challenge, but will decide to go for the corner boost instead. Buddy playing a 50 will get what they want, but any continuation. A drip in the corner. On the near post, Top Cheese and Bussy both looking at it, but then Top Cheese, they're pickpocketed. Can Hockey wrap around it? No, it is just too wide. And on we will play, but Northwood even using demos now. They're really reaching into their bag of tricks, using absolutely everything now, and it's certainly creating an interesting variable to pay attention to in this next game.
It must be. And now Hockey off the back wall here. Top Cheese stays up, despite what may have been their better judgment. They're available on that back wall. They still got to defend this one, though. Pirates on target and in. Nicely delivered for goal 2.
And this is how you use an air dribble right here from Hockey. The first touch is close enough, and the second one is an immediate hit away because you've done your job. The near post player has bit. Now it's all about your next player to fill in that gap, put it into the goal. My goodness, Northwood does that just so well. 2 goals off of 3 shots, and they're really starting to cruise now. Stockton needs to make sure they're keeping everything together. Last thing you want to do is see the mental start to topple. I know they're a confident team, but results like this can certainly shake anyone.
They can, but they still got an odd shot at this one. Top Cheese to the backboard. Pirates needs to defend, and they will. Well played getting out to that one quickly. Of course, you always have to respect those double taps by Top Cheese. This one just a little bit wide, I think. That shot still registers as a save as well for Bussy. Drip way up high against Hockey. Again, very difficult to win in that 1v1. Top Cheese has to take over. Well, there was never a chance to get that one around Pirates unless they made a critical mistake on the back line. Stockton still looking for their entrance. Of course, the fundamentals are there, but it's so difficult to execute in the end when the defense is as strong as it has been for Northwood. And I was saying earlier, their defense looked notoriously weak for our standards. But as I also said, I expected it to improve, and it certainly has. This one down in front. Hockey scores goal number 3.
What more can you ask about from a 50 here? Look at Buddy turning immediately on this, going straight to the ceiling, knowing that if they just get anything on it, it's going to be weird. But to be honest, to have it bounce straight down to Hockey, I mean, I can't say it's calculated, but just the fact that they always need to be there and they happen to find themselves exactly in the spot they really require for that shot is impressive nonetheless from Northwood. Experience really showing through, and obviously the synergy from Buddy, Hockey, and Pirates is something to behold as they continue to press on and attack. And I just can't get over. I mean, I know we have 1 minute reset between the game, but it's almost like we restarted and had a completely different series.
Yeah, well, I mean, this almost feels like the classic Northwood maneuver that we have come to know and maybe not love precisely, but one way or the other, they are coming back with a vengeance. Buddy takes this one away in the midfield for number 4, and Taco, like I was saying, this is the same thing we expected of Northwood. Normally it was, okay, maybe we drop game 1, but then after we realize that our opponents actually mean business, we put the foot down. We do not let anything else happen in that series. It seems like maybe it just took them a little bit longer to get in the saddle, but once they did, Stockton has been looking very starved for goal-scoring opportunities of late.
Yeah, Stockton sitting right at 4 goals. That is just alone what Hockey has for this game. And at least when we're looking at Stockton, you can also see it, really the psychological insight just from that last goal. Bussy has a backboard clear, but they'll put it out into the middle, and honestly, there was no errant defense on this one. It was just Top Cheese being persistent. A great 50 by Drip, and Hockey can only do so much. So 1 more goal from Stockton. And as we mentioned, I mean, they're not helpless on offense. It's just that chances like this almost are more opportunistic than something they're really carving out themselves.
I would absolutely agree. I mean, you saw the physical play was more, like you said, opportunistic there, as Hockey did give it a little bit over to Top Cheese, but was expecting it to turn to a back pass, but now Bussy off the back wall, still denied here by Pirates. I was talking about their ability to pre-jump on the defense and make those kinds of reads against difficult angles, and here it rears its, I guess, pretty handsome head, if you're a fan of Quality Rocket League. Not exactly an ugly look.
Ooh, don't like that from Drip, though. I think they tried to get a flick, and it didn't work out. Hockey, tap that one down, going for a 50. Will be taken over. Pirates into Drip. That's high. Buddy does not have that read. No one actually has it. Bussy's trying to follow through, but we'll try to perhaps wisely put it to the sideline instead. It will continue. Top G's heck of an angle. Drip on the follow through, and Hockey's just too close. A little bit of a close shave from Northwood, but they're able to escape completely unscathed. We're going to keep on playing, and now it's Northwood's chance to maybe try their own attack. There's an infield, but tapped away. Top Cheese not going to get that contact, and Pirates to the corner.
Ooh, it's still forcing Buddy into action, though. A nice little follow-up for Pirates, but it feels like Stockton had loads of different opportunities right there, but they just could not find the right play. But this one looks so good. Top Cheese with no read, trying to dunk Pirates, Drip towards the net, and Top Cheese will pop it straight up. I do like the idea for the possession play, but they have nobody available to actually do anything with it. Now they have to play back onto the defense. They need one before that clock hits 0, otherwise it's game over. And it's sure looking like it might just be that way, Buddy. The stall can't put it on target. That's 2 players gone. If they had a chance for a counter, that would have been it. But nobody was able to get that one out. And game 6 will end, or excuse me, will be on the horizon here for Northwood. And Taco, I'm seeing a little bit of a snowball start to form here.
And that's certainly what I'm thinking as well. This is something you do not like to see because, again, we talked about this in the narrative of games 1 and 2. Okay, game number 1, it's a 1-goal affair. It is just one mistake came through, and since then, there's a lot of shots from both sides, but ultimately, Stockton comes out. And game 2 really opens up for Stockton. I'm thinking, okay, this is really bad. Stockton's starting to figure things out, and then it gets even worse, and they get another victory. And I'm thinking to myself, man, like, really, what's going to be happening here on this Northwood side? But no, then they figure it out. And then these 2 strip pass games, even though Stockton isn't helpless, they're still getting their shots. They are pressed back. They're making uncharacteristic clears. They're giving the ball away. And I think they're in their own heads a bit. And I can't really blame them. When you know that Northwood is going to be hounding you on these touches, when they're all seemingly covering all these different options, you're going to throw away a possession or two. It's really something to behold, just the quality of this Northwood team to not buckle under pressure and make those correct adjustments.
Yeah, and of course, like I was saying, I think I, and most likely yourself, Taco, we expected this kind of resurgence from Northwood. I think the win condition right now for Stockton, though, is definitely to get more control over the ball. And I don't necessarily just mean get zone time on the offense, because that's what I would say, if not for the fact that Northwood has been showing that they can make some incredibly long passing plays all the way down the field, or even some incredibly long solo plays all the way downfield. So it's really about keeping a close control over the ball and being able to push it out onto the offensive side. Because I mentioned earlier on in the series that Stockton was they were doing an amazing job defending against Northwood. A job that we don't normally see. Teams have just outstanding difficulty actually maintaining their defensive line against a team as aggressive as Northwood. And Stockton was doing exactly that. Has not been a part of their play over these last 2 games. They need to have control of the ball in the offensive end, and so far it looks like they've got exactly that, although this pass from Bussy, I think that's a little bit more than errant. That was a huge giveaway.
So Top Cheese will be able to do enough with it to keep it in the corner. Drip, the tap forward, Bussy. Send that one deep. That's a sitter. Top Cheese cuts in front of Drip, but seem to always have a plan on that, but they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Drip. Now Bussy, that's a tight angle. The pressure is nice, but it's anything substantial enough to break through Northwood. They seem to have fully recovered, and we're right back into that midfield bout. Buddy actually on the giveaway and out of absolutely nothing. That's gonna be a Northwood lead.
If you're Stockton here, look, I like the idea, Drip, but Taco, this is one of these instances that you talked about so many times before. You cannot make a pass into the midfield unless you know that somebody is there. I mean, sure, it looks good on paper. If your player is there, that's a good passing play to make. That's a great way to counter an opposing clearance. However, if you don't have a player there, you're literally just giving it away. And speaking of, Buddy gets their hands on this one straight down to Pirates and dunked in.
And it is a great play by Buddy, using that flip to the best extent. Top Cheese, you can see them shadowing it the whole time. However, Pirates is as well, and they're going to power all the way through that. 2 different defenders could not get a single contact on that, and it's going to look like we're going to be seeing Northwood continue that snowball we see. A lot of snow up in Michigan, and apparently they're very much used to it, even manipulating it. Oh my goodness, Buddy. If that went in, then surely this game is going out the window. Buddy trying again. And they're getting closer and closer, but Stockton holding tough for right now.
I'm just going to say that I'm not a happy camper right now. I wanted to see Stockton take this one, frankly. You know, Northwood has been the villain, the antagonist for everybody in Collegiate Rocket League, and yet here they are, once again, putting the foot down. But this 2-goal lead, though, is still not set in stone. They need 2 more games, of course. Putting 2 more in a row does seem an easy task for them. What a play here from Buddy over to Pirates. Just the post is enough to keep it out. Again, the 4th defender plays no favorites. But still, that kind of space and time being granted to Northwood was one of the biggest concerns for me. Bussy, speaking of, denied instantly by Pirates. We move into the 3rd minute of gameplay.
This is about the 7th or 8th time I have seen hockey on the back rotation just stalk a Stockton player. And I don't mean like seek them out. I mean deliberately come from the offense, from behind the Stockton player and demo them. And every time Stockton slows it down, they will feel the wrath of hockey. And that's something that I think Stockton is just not adjusting for. Again, Bus is going to slow things down. And then hockey is going to come right for him. They're going to force an early flick and will be able to get through. But that is an element of Northwood I really do like. They were allowing Stockton to build up an attack and trusting the defense. Once they realized that Stockton had the ability to strike through it, now it's suddenly just, hey, what if we just took them off the field? And that's an adequate strategy. It certainly has been working so far.
Not only that, Taco, but we talked about what Stockton was going to have to do once Northwood decided to start playing a little bit slower, right? It wasn't just a raw speed match and trying to make these in-the-moment reads. Northwood started waiting for Stockton to make their move, and it was working out, but Drip, what a read on this one. I didn't think this shot was going to be as impactful as it was, but still, Stockton get on the board.
That's why I got to learn that hitbox. Like a Drip come in through this, and then instead of trying to flip through it or try to get some crazy follow-up touch or be able to just hit it back into the ground, they get below the ball, they lean back, and that allows them to hit that just as a frozen rope, just a banger into that top shelf. Buddy just has to look at it go by. That is a good job by Stockton to give them some hope in this game, but you don't want to give space in this game. Hockey has been showing a lot of confidence in these solo plays, and to his Buddy nearly trying to set up another pass, not going to find it. Buddy off the backboard, the dish to the back post, and Top Cheese with a pre-flip will get it clear for now.
Still, though, you can see the panic on the Stockton defense, and that is another example of exactly that. 2 players commit, and there was Buddy. They knew Busty was going to fake that. They're trying to drop it down into the mid. Top Cheese takes over now. 1v2 over top of Pirates, but the bump away, that was so huge. Top Cheese even almost getting back to it. You can see how much Stockton wants this. They'll have a shot here. Busty cannot put it on target past Buddy. That should be just enough of a clearance for Northwood to get set on the defense if they weren't already. Just one way up in the sky. Drip. Had Top Cheese to work with, but opted to play it all on their lonesome. Stockton needs to keep their resources available to them. A nice little pinch off the sidewall, but it's much too far for Top Cheese to make the play. Some desperation in the offensive side here for Stockton. Drip is able to keep this one at least locked at the midfield line. Hockey, a good dunk. That's all the way over to Buddy. Buddy pop up now for Pirates. The speed of play for Northwood when they get a hold of that ball, even in these awkward neutral spots, is just amazing right now.
Look at Buddy going through, getting a dunk, then leaving, then getting a demo, then getting a boost steal, then going back. They just will not leave Stockton alone because they know that even if they are able to get a shot off and keep pressure, the foundation of a good attack is making sure you are hamstringing your opponents at every turn and getting those boost steals, getting those demos, just getting in the face of the defense, making their job harder is just so many things to think about. So certainly a good job from Stockton. You don't want them getting over eager actually, because Top Cheese and Drip actually both going for that. So Pussy has to dodge a demo, and now maybe a counterattack. Pass into Top Cheese, that's gonna be red. Drip quickly up for it. It's a deflection to the sideline. Pirates, they have 2 seconds to go. They opt for the longer clear, which is gonna set up one more attack, or so I thought. Top Cheese, no touch, and Squid, there's many different paths to take to the same place, and ultimately I think we're only naturally going to be headed towards a Game 7 between Stockton and Northwood here in our upper final.
I feel like once Stockton got 3 wins, we were always going to be here. I hate to say it that way, but
there was that inkling in the back of my mind where normally we're like, man, how do you come back?
But that's the thing, is like neither you nor me were truly convinced that Northwood was going to take this, right? Nobody here thought that Northwood was just going to go down in 4 like that. But you know, something I was talking about earlier is, again, you know, Stockton, they had Northwood's number initially. It was an amazing start for the series. I mean, you can see how it impacted their gameplay in the first 3 games. Northwood was having a tough time actually getting the ball away from Stockton because they just kept sending people at things. They did not give them space. But as soon as Northwood realized what was going on, they started playing slower, and it worked wonders for them. They allowed the Stockton players to go at them, and, you know, they were able to just outplay them in the simplest ways. And then, after Stockton realized that was happening, they started playing a little bit slower too. Problem being, once they started playing slower, Northwood immediately, and I do not mean between games, but literally as soon as space was granted, they started making infield passes, and it was devastating to the Stockton defense. They had no way to counterplay that. And then even after that, you mentioned the resourcefulness for Buddy in the opposing end near the end of that game, and that is what we've been seeing so much value out of every single one of their players, and already they've got the lead in Game 7.
We're talking about everybody hates Northwood, but it's because they're the Yankees, they're the Patriots. They just win so much, they're easy to hate, but it's also because they're just really insanely good. The Pirates, right off of the intro to Game 7, able to rip that one right to the back post, and as if Stockton could rely on a reset, they're already behind after just a few ticks of the clock. So now they're really going to have to bring out the quality, because now they're playing from a handicap. That could have been the answer, but you'll not see yet another game start with an exchange.
It's coming home. Oh my goodness! Buddy almost made sniped by Hockey on that one. At this rate though, I have almost no reason to believe that we're going to see Northwood drop this game. 30 seconds displaced from the start, and I think that displays to anybody who's unfamiliar just how confident you can be in this roster on the blue side. But of course, Stockton are not going to go down without a fight. And I believe they might yet have a chance. They could shock me. Nice little play for Top Cheese. They need some support, and they will find it. The form of Bussy. Pirates not able to make a touch there. Long clearance. We really need to see Top Cheese or Bussy pop off in this one. That one almost trickles on through, but of course the defender will be there. Pass towards the mid, towards Drip. Nice contact made off the bar, and Pirates into the corner. What a stop.
Spectacular job by Northwood, just being able to get one more player down into the line of fire and be able to stop that through. However, that passing play is going to be creative, but still in a positive connotation. Bussy into the corner, following themselves. That's an interesting dunk. Top Cheese will relent to Drip, and they will be able to get another shot. I think that one is over, but to be honest, if I'm Pirates, I'm not taking any chances on that one as well, for that exact reason. Stockton really trying to get the job done, but they just cannot find the angle. It's off the bar again, and all three players required to finally get their goal.
The kitchen sink, but thankfully they do get it done. I mean, Hockey with zero boost there. You can see that Drip most likely want to get that one under the bar, but they did not waylay. They still went in. Top Cheese off the backboard, and what a cross it was from Bussy. Pirates had actually quite a good bit of coverage there in the net. Bussy saw the angle that they needed, and they made it happen. They even get a dunk here. Looking for a pass in the mid. There's Top Cheese off the backboard twice, and Drip is not close enough. You have to respect, again, maintaining that backfield. You do not want to forfeit the lead at this point. But still, it looks like it could easily have been their lead if Drip had been a little bit closer. This could still be a chance. Top Cheese, no angle.
I have no idea how Buddy predicted that Top Cheese was going to hit that on the near post again, but here we are. And honestly, here we are still in the Northwood half. That's a double commit, actually. Nobody is up to stop Top Cheese. The double commit, and actually, we don't see anything from Pirates. They try to dive in with Buddy in tow, but nothing actually happened. And honestly, that's more rare than anything. A really unanswered double tap being set up from Stockton could have been their lead, and they might get punished for it, but Top Cheese able to make up for it with a nice defensive stop.
Well, of course, I mean, it was a contested double tap, only in the way that Pirates was there on the backboard and threatening to make that contact, and Top Cheese was predicting it, because you know that Pirates can make that play just about every single time. It almost makes me wonder if it was a fake on purpose. But either way, we'll play on. At a tie 1-1 ball game, this one straight down. Top Cheese is there, but of course, met by Buddy. They don't let those go in so easily. Less than half the game to be played here. We still search for a winner. One team going on to the grand finals, the other will move down, although I'm sure there's a good chance we'll be seeing the other in the grand finals again. Oh, Buddy almost had that redirect angle, could not quite find it. The 50 made here at the midfield, and Pirates a back pass to try to reset Northwood's attack.
Just going to clear it right forward, maybe trying to anticipate Hockey's movement. However, that movement was going straight backwards. Drip. Tap down, Buddy over the top. No one's on the backboard. Bussy has to rush for this. Hockey is looking, but even that angle is going to be too hard for the Northwood striker. We're going to see Top Cheese's rendition of offense. That's only in the middle, though, and now we're starting to see these longer clears really rain through as we're going intermittently between these bursts of speed and these more methodical plays. And this is certainly the mid-game that we're in. 80 seconds remaining to see who's going to be able to end out the series. Will it be a reverse sweep or a denial of it?
I think right now, Stockton, I mentioned how the wind condition was keeping control of the ball in the opposing end at least a little bit at a time. It feels like it has been a constant battle for both of these teams. for Northwood to keep Stockton from doing that. Speaking of, oh my goodness, Pirates. 0 boost. Would have just had to watch that one sail in. Should have been under the bar. Less than a minute to play now, and Stockton are setting up shop here in the attacking zone. Plus, he does have to give that one away, and Hockey will inherit this ball all the way downfield. Drip out to the left, towards Top Cheese. They have to wait on this one. Buddy towards the mid, and Hockey was there. They do play the respectful ball. They knew Drip had that one read like a book. And we will continue to play completely tied up into the final 30 seconds.
Not for long, though. Look at Pirates, and it's going to force out a nice save from Top Cheese. Hockey now, keeping it alive. Bussy, not the cleanest contact. They will get boost, but not possession. Top Cheese was needed. They'll just extend that one deep out into the side. We might even be looking at the fabled land of content here, Squid, and an OT, but of course, we got to get there first. Touches like that do not help. That's Drip onto the backboard. Bussy off the ceiling. Or Buddy off the ceiling, now into Bussy. The flip reset off the backboard. Top Cheese into the corner. Drip might look at it, but they will not go. Instead, we'll just have one more flick. The confidence from Stockton. They do not want to go to OT. Problem is, it's exactly where we're all headed. One more goal to decide this series and decide who's going to our grands.
This is the last thing I expected when we looked at this series on paper. But here we find ourselves for Northwood. This is all about their honor in a variety of ways. For Stockton, avoiding a reverse sweep, that would sure be a crying shame if they let this happen. We'll see. Northwood are the first on the attack, and they have been here for about the entirety of the OT so far. Bussy, clearance towards the mid. It's not going to get very far, though. Top Cheese in a little bit of danger there under the threat of physical play by Hockey. They'll finally get a little bit of zone time. Top Cheese almost on target, but Buddy blocks it away.
Not only that, but Buddy has a continuation. Drip needed to challenge that in exactly the fashion that they did. Now Bussy trying to follow through with a clean touch. Nothing doing. Hockey, longer hit, no follow. Drip to the corner. Hockey with a boost steal. Now space to work with. Tried to find Buddy, will be deprived. And actually now a little bit of a 1v1 trip. We've dunked over the top. Where have we seen that before? No similar danger will be answered by Northwood, and slower air dribble will be able to call a stop to this Stockton offense.
Oh, Top Cheese, I love that 50-50. Pops him way up high. I'm sure it slows things down. Pirates not able to grab that boost in the corner either. This could turn into a play. Top Cheese is available. Cannot beat out Buddy, though. Right there near the top of the box. Slight bump onto Hockey. This one again into the infield. Nobody has the confidence. That's a huge double commit. Nobody's instantly ready for it. Hockey with a slow touch towards the net. And Top Cheese is able to force it way up high. Stockton, loads of danger there. No instantaneous punish. Pirates on the target. Top Cheese, no touch. But Bussy is there to bail him out. That was a close call. Now all the way downfield. And Buddy is there. I didn't see him initially. All the way up to Hockey. Looking for a passing goal. Top Cheese has the read. Shots galore on either side of the ball. This might be another one. A Pirates no contact Hockey towards the target. Pirates cannot do anything about it. They just have to watch Bussy clear it away. Will there be an end to the violence?
My goodness, it's certainly bringing out the best of both teams on both sides of the field, as the defense had to be stellar for Stockton. There was so much pressure. There was even bumps on the backboard, and Bussy was able to shake that off and still get the save. That is what makes these two teams in the contention for best teams in the world even. You got to make sure that they can continue that grace by getting this victory. You don't want to lose up your life and go down to the lower bracket. At the very least, grace for these teams. It's not the last we'll be seeing of them. Pirates trying to make sure it's not them with a clear. Now an extension out. Top Cheese has to gather it, but Hockey, quick pressure and boost steal. Fantastic 50, though. We're right back into the midfield. And Top Cheese is needed again for a touch. No double tap. Pirates, a lead blocker in Hockey, but the shot is not going to do it. Neither is the deflection again put to the side.
Oh, Bussy, key touch there right below Pirates. That would have been a massive continuation for Northwood. Top Cheese in the mid. They win the challenge. Completely open, but no! Pirates cannot make the save. It will be Stockton, the first grand finalist. And I don't think we ever expected it to end this way, one way or the other. And what an upset here for Stockton. They will take down the Titans of the East, the undisputed best in the nation for CRL. And oh my goodness, Taco, they have got to be feeling good about that.
And I love how that ends. It's nothing super flashy. It's just they saw a flailing challenger in the midfield, and Top Cheese, all they have to do is just jump, really roll into it, let it sit, and say, Bussy, I trust you with the rest. Nice little mind game, getting the 50 on the goal line, putting that one through, and that is fantastic to see when we see at the end, because it doesn't come down to a mistake. It's just a well-worked play by Stockton, a well-deserved victory, despite taking a little bit of an emotional roller coaster.
Jeez. I mean, a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. Denying a reverse sweep in a best of 7 in overtime, I think, is a little bit more than a little emotional roller coaster, Taco. I don't know if that's just me, but I think that might be one of your worst takes that I've heard out of you in a long time. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Okay, a lot of an emotional roller coaster. A very lengthy throw ride.
A very lengthy, very hilly, incredibly fast, and most likely not safe for a pregnant woman. Kind of emotional roller coaster. But no, I mean, it's been a fantastic series. I don't know how Siena Heights and Mizzou are going to top that, frankly.
It's going to be tough, but at the end of the day, I believe in them. I think that's definitely something that they have to live up to. But of course, that is the title card matchup. Northwood and Stockton. That's what we were really waiting for a while. We saw the bracket slowly narrowing down to those teams. So, of course, that's what we're seeing. But that's also why double elimination brackets are interesting. So now, in the lower bracket, we'll have Northwood facing off and waiting for their opponent in the lower final. And then, meanwhile, we're going to be having a lot of people waiting to see who's going to be able to get there. So that's going to be the interesting aspect of all of this, is that Siena Heights and Mizzou, that next game, that's really going to determine who's going to be able to move on and who's going to be one of those contenders.
Well, I mean, for Siena Heights, like we mentioned, the qualification into the LCQ is already a massive prize for them. But, of course, the potential to move on here and prove themselves against some of the best in the East, potentially. I mean, if they can take down Mizzou, Northwood is very close on the horizon for them. So, it's an exciting prospect, surely. But I gotta say, I feel like we touched on this earlier on in the stream, but I feel like they might have gotten a bit of a lousy cut during the CRL qualifiers overall, and I'm excited to see what they can do, especially against Mizzou in particular. As I mentioned, a top 8 team in the West facing off against a team that didn't qualify for the East, but showed a heck of a lot of potential. We've seen that a couple of times. I mean, Penn State was one that we watched at the CCA Open, Taco, and we questioned on numerous occasions what kind of damage they would have done if they had made it into league play.
It's difficult, and I think a lot of those things about rosters are really relevant. I think specifically with Siena Heights, when you're trying to come through and say, when you have a superstar team, and I still stand by that a team has to be greater than the sum of its parts. You cannot just assemble a great roster of players and expect them to play well. The reason why Northwood works is not because they're just 3 great players. It's 3 great players who have been played for years with each other. They literally did what I think most college teams should do if you're trying to recruit a full squad. Just find an existing team and saying, hey, if you're all going to college, consider this one. And that's what makes a fantastic team. Of course, you can build that relationship, but it's so nice to have that already established. And that's a thing that I really want to point out as we pivot actually over to Northwood to kind of talk about this last game, is just Pirates is a player that we've been talking about a lot, mainly because Buddy and Hockey are the staples of that starting roster. Lion Blaze is technically an alternate, but we've seen in big stakes matchups, Lion Blaze comes in and they will play instead, because that is a fantastic player, obviously a pro player for Ghost Gaming. And Pirates, in a way, some people have said, oh, it's disrespectful in a way because we're putting in Lion Blaze in, but Pirates earned that spot in games like this. Part of me wanted to say, well, that's why. I mean, Pirates, they're almost getting swept by Stockton. I mean, I don't know if this happens with Lion Blaze, and so tough for that. But then at the end of the day, it doesn't actually work out. So it's just strange to see like all these different operations kind of kick through and see that Lion Blaze is obviously a fantastic player, but Pirates, they can still get the job done. Maybe just a little bit more of a warm up there, take it to game 7 overtime. And they do get edged out there. I mean, it still shows that it's not a pushover team by any means. He's a great player and certainly is deserving of that contention, that starting spot in these competitions.
Yeah, I do agree on that point, and I think that Pirates, of course, there was a little bit going around about that, and I have my 2 cents that I could say to him in person, but I feel kind of the same. I feel that for Pirates, it might be getting a little bit of a short end of the stick. I definitely feel like from when we saw Northwood first enter the competition in CRL and NACE, in UGC and NECC, all these different competitions, I feel like it was, Pirates as part of the starting roster. And of course, Pirates does have competitive experience that many teams value out of their players. So I feel like for Pirates, the consistency has definitely been growing as well over the time of being in CRL. At first, it was a little bit shaky, but now I think there's really no question about it. They're a very solid sub. You don't see them make simple mistakes at this point. And of course, they say they're a solid sub for Lion Blaze, but I mean, it is a little bit difficult to talk about those things because, of course, if Lion Blaze is available, you play Lion Blaze. I don't really think there's much of a question about that. But, it is what it is, Tucker.
It is. It is what it is. And so, of course, when we are thinking about all these things with seeing that last series, of course, I'm sweaty I'm sweaty by nature. But of course, for right now, it's nice to be able to see all these games. It's putting us to the edge of our seat. And of course, we want to thank out our lovely sponsors. And particularly, we want to say that, honestly, all of us need a relaxation trip. We need maybe a vacation after a series like that, just to de-stress, and you belong at the beach. So, Starleague is proud to have actually visit Myrtle Beach. As part of the collegiate family, the beach is actually helping us bring collegiate esports to the ocean by partnering with the home of collegiate esports, and you can find 60 miles of beautiful coastline, 14 unique communities, and discover unique communities and stunning sunrises over the Atlantic Ocean, sprawling sandy beaches, lush natural wonders, and brand new adventures that you're looking to go on, all at one beach. The beach gets gamers, and gamers get the beach. So thank you so much to Visit Myrtle Beach for helping bring NACE Starleague to all of your eyeballs and allowing us to be able to commentate right along with it. Because to be honest, that's only one of the 2 series that we are going to be bringing in everyone tonight.
Look, all I'm saying is we have more than a couple of summer competitions in the Collegiate Rocket League space. I know a couple of people who might want to hear about a particular beach space in which we could bring the esport to the beach well and truly, Taco. Look, that's all I'm going to say. But like I said, we do have one more match around the corner. It's Mizzou and Siena Heights, but we are going to take a short break while we get that one set up. Once again, you're watching the NACE Starleague playoffs. You won't want to miss this next one. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to the more NACE Collegiate Star League playoff action. We just saw Northwood take down Stockton, or rather, Stockton took down Northwood.
Yeah, I know,
See,
right?
my brain is so used to the opposite of that. Nope, it's just Northwood win. That's how you say it. But no, Stockton able to deny a reverse sweep attempt from Northwood in our upper final. So they will be waiting in the grand finals, and Northwood is going to have to go down to the bottom. But of course, we wanted to make sure that we mention really a player that had a standout performance and really was the hero of that game.
Yeah, we love doing the LS here of the game here, and of course, we want to give mention to a player on the Stockton roster. And really, Taco, we had to have a long and hard discussion about this, but we should, before we get there, before we get to that conversation, we should mention what this is all about, of course. It is about LS that is making an impact in the cancer community, which includes leukemia survivor Brenda. In 2015, Brenda was battling what she thought was a cold, but she was not getting better. After being taken to the hospital, she was in disbelief to learn that she had acute myeloid leukemia. Brenda's treatment started immediately, but it wasn't an easy road mentally. During this time, she lost friends and was even bullied for having cancer. She spent a lot of time indoors and jumped into gaming. After some time, she started streaming on Twitch, creating a place where everyone would be included and treated fairly, as well as a place where she could help others. Since Brenda started doing charity streams, she has raised over $4,000 for LS while playing games like League of Legends, Dead by Daylight, and Halo. Alongside Hero Brenda, we recognize the LS hero of the game as the player that made the biggest impact in the match played. And Taco, there are so many qualifying factors. It could be a clutch play, a sacrifice made, or just providing strong leadership. And I think all three of those are good qualifying factors for everybody on the Stockton side. And we had a little bit of a conversation about this beforehand, and I'm going to let you give it out.
And to be honest, I mean, it's it's a good team, and it's a good game when you have to individualize one player. That is the biggest contribution, and then it's saying it could be really any of them. But I felt like just because the Game 7 overtime kind of puts them over the top, but Bussy able to get that victory for them, but also just how many plays they're able to generate through the chaos they're causing. I just love that contribution because all of the limelight gets shown on Top Cheese, and of course Drip has the unique role of trying to fill in and always kind of that third man left out, but they both popped off. But it's Bussy that I feel like has been always the rock in that team, that always seems to be where they need to be, that utility player that makes them such a lethal squad.
And that's where I was massively agreed. And of course, part of our conversation, Taco, was talking about the game winner, the Game 7 winner, to finally shut down the winning spree for Northwood. And while it may have just been one goal, I still feel like for Bussy, it's especially special because, the Stockton roster, undoubtedly, we're having some second thoughts about their odds at taking that series one way or another. Obviously, we were not able to get an interview with our hero of the game this time around, but yeah, I think it was worth mentioning. Having the ice, not letting your offense or defense break down. Bussy had so many amazing defensive reads, and the biggest thing I talk about is the fact that he can be so creative on the offensive side with his rotations. And one of the concerns, Taco, we even talked about this the other day, is that it could potentially get in the way of Top Cheese. We didn't really see that today, so I feel like in a couple of different ways, Bussy was a massive team leader for Stockton and also had a lot of productivity when it came to goal scoring and defensive plays.
I think games 1 through 3 Stockton, if they can dial that in and figure out the secret sauce to bring that play style every time, they can beat anyone. I genuinely believe that there's not a team that can stand up to a player like that just because they look so confident. Every challenge goes through, their mechanics are unlocked, they're setting up things in creative and always varying a manner. And I think for teams, it's a lot to handle, and very few can actually withstand that. You saw Northwood constantly scrambling, and once that started to dissipate, then you started seeing them get back in. But at the end of the day, Stockton still taking that W just because they trust in the plan. They're able to get back to it, and just such a great thing. And so naturally, when we talk about these things and isolate Bussy, of course, not saying that they're carrying this team, because there is no carries at this level. Everyone needs to pop up. Gone are the days of just having that one dominant player on every team that really makes your squad. So that's something that certainly want to highlight Bussy for. And I would say that this is a great launching point into our next series, but we have good news and bad news for Siena Heights fans.
Yes, so unfortunately, Mizzou missing Chalks today. So unfortunately, we will not be able to get that match played out here on the stream. We're still waiting to hear about the update on whether or not that match will be rescheduled for another time. And Siena Heights, if they choose, they can enforce a disqualification on this one, which, it's equal parts. Like, you have the right to do that. Well, of course, we'd love to see that match get played out, and we were rather excited to see it here today. But for Siena Heights, this is a huge tournament for them to move forward in any capacity. I mean, we talk about how Northwood now in the lower bracket, it's a huge obstacle, but it's also like the final boss of CRL, essentially. They've gotten this far already, and as much as they most likely want to play off against Mizzou, it also would be a huge opportunity for them to really step up to the plate, so to speak.
And it's unfortunate because we're not going to be able to see Siena Heights, particularly because I was so excited to see them because the last time I was able to see them, I was able to showcase in qualifiers for CRL, watching them play against West Virginia, a team we've seen on stream. And now that Arcadia was able to fell Western Virginia, then I'm kind of thinking, okay, what does Siena Heights look like after all those months have passed and they're able to kick it up? And you're still not going to be able to see. But all I do know is that they've gotten very, very deep in the lower bracket, and it's only going to continue if they do enforce that forfeit. But unfortunately, Squid, that does mean that since we only had those 2 matches, since we're trying to save the best for last, we have some matches coming up in the future for our grand finals and lower finals. That will bring an end to our broadcast day here.
Yeah, it will. And it is a little bit unfortunate, but of course there will always be more of the playoffs. I know for a fact that we are planning to showcase the grand finals, and it is going to be a good one with the potential for a bracket reset as well. So Stockton, you might want to do some prep work for the next time we are on the stream here. And Taco, although we only had the 1 series, denying a reverse sweep against Northwood has got to be a good feeling for Stockton. It was certainly a lot of fun to watch. We hope you guys had a good time as well, but we are going to be closing it out here. Once again, stay tuned with NACE on Twitter. You will be seeing the schedule shortly for the grand finals of the playoffs, and we look forward to seeing you there. But that is our show, and we will see you next time.